Hello and welcome everyone to Next Level Live. Thank you so much for tuning in. Each week we are bringing you live interviews with powerful leaders that will inspire you in reaching your next level in life. And this evening I'm so excited. We have special guest Mike Strizki with us. He is an inventor, he's an educator, and a leader in the industry of renewable energy. He's also the founder of the Hydrogen House Project, which truly is a beacon for renewable energy worldwide, conducting research and development and projects on the latest solar, hydrogen, fuel cell, and other clean energy technologies. I'm so thrilled to have you on the show with us, Mike. Thank you so much for being here.
Hey, it's a pleasure to be here.
I know you've been doing a ton of these interviews. I feel like you guys have been saying that more and more press is getting out there about the beautiful technology that you're championing and inventing, and really that you've been standing for the last 30 years. So that's so exciting.
Yeah, I mean, we have the miracle if we choose to use it.
Absolutely, absolutely. So will you tell us? So you've been, I know this has been a long, arduous path for you. When we've been speaking, it just sounds like there's been a lot of resistance over the years. 30 years that you've been doing this. You started in the Department of Transportation in New Jersey?
Yes. I was in the Office of Technology. It was my job to take space and military technology and find transportation and civilian applications. So I worked with the Army, I worked with NASA, I worked with RCA, I worked with Lockheed. So all of these high-tech companies had an idea they wanted to commercialize. They came to see me. So,
Awesome.
if you want to know how I got involved in this, I had a company called H Power up in Belleville pay me a visit. They worked with NASA on something called the fuel cell.
Wow.
And I didn't know what a fuel cell was or how it worked. I knew NASA used them, but that was about it. And they said, look, we want to commercialize this technology. And we've got, these fuel cell stacks we've made. What can we put them in here that the department uses? So we went back to the maintenance yard, and we had just gotten in these brand new solar variable message signs. So these signs, you've seen them on the highway. They've been out for 30 years that tell messages that the road is closed ahead or accident or merge left or merge right or all of those things. They're programmable. Well, the problem is when they would get snow on the panels, the batteries would die in less than 2 days. And then we'd have a $2,000 replacement. And we'd have to chisel this thing out of a snowbank and risk life and limb. So I said, can you power this thing when the sun is not shining and when the panels are covered? They said, absolutely. So we decided to build a prototype. So I had gotten some research money, and we built a prototype, and it was successful. Wow. So the commissioner of the Department of Transportation, then Frank Wilson, said, let's do all of them. We had like 60 of these signs, and we retrofitted the entire fleet of these signs with hydrogen fuel cells.
That became when was this? When was
this? Was 1996.
Okay, cool.
This became the first commercial purchase of hydrogen fuel cells outside the U.S. space program and made headlines around the world. The company 2 years later went public, and now is Plug Power, which is one of the leaders in the market. So you never know what you start with or what it involves to.
Sure,
but,
sure.
I got involved with the American Tour de Seoul shortly after that. And I could go into a long story, but I know we don't have the time. But what it ended up is these kids taught me what my life's path and career was. It's about doing more with less, not more with more. All right. And they changed my entire outlook from being the race car driver now to building hydrogen fuel cell cars and being even a faster race car driver.
I know you guys have the hype. You were supporting with the Hyperion, which is coming out.
The last 5.5 years. He rolled in here 8 years ago and had this dream of building a hydrogen car and asked me how to do it.
Wow.
It took him almost 4 years to raise the funds, and then he came to me and said, I got to start. Let's build it. He offered me a part of the company. I said, I'm not taking it. You keep it for yourself. Wow. I said, I'm going to help you in whatever it takes to make this thing happen. And that's exactly what we did.
Wow, that's so
So
cool.
five and
Somebody
a
was
half years
just,
later,
sorry, go
it's
ahead.
rolling out. I was supposed to go down for the debut of the car and to give a presentation, but Corona kind of stopped me dead.
Oof, oof.
But
It's based in Columbus, or not Columbus, but right outside of Columbus. Yeah, something like
yeah, that's
Youngstown,
where
or
the investors were, and that's where Angelo was building
okay.
Matchbox cars. The company that we built it in was in Anaheim, California.
Okay,
So look at a
makes
car
sense.
that does 0 to 20 and 0 to 60 2.2 seconds. It tops out at 220 miles an hour. Looks like the Batmobile, and basically will have 1,000-mile range. Tesla, eat
Oof.
your heart out.
Yeah,
Anybody wants a clip on the front page of my website? Please also visit At War with the Dinosaurs, another
yes.
5-year project for a documentary that highlights why we don't have fuel cell vehicles now. It shows you where we've been, where we're going, and why this is so important now.
Yes, beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, I just shared your Hydrogen House project website, and it looks like also you've got your handle on there, which is great. Beautiful. So when is that going to be available for mass consumption from the public, the
Well,
Hyperion?
we built 2 prototypes, and the vehicle itself was actually made out of titanium carbon on 3D printers.
Wow.
Yeah, so this is a pretty amazing car from that standpoint. It's going to be as easy as doing a CAD drawing to build these vehicles with the advances in laser printers now. We
Holy
can build fuel
cannoli.
cells with laser printers now. You just have to
Wow.
write the right cartridges.
Oh, that's so cool. Okay, cool. So, and then how quickly, because this blows my mind, like how fast can you recharge the hydrogen
It's about 5
automobile?
minutes.
5 minutes.
Right. You're not spending, half a day at a Tesla supercharger waiting in line with 700 other people for the one charger.
Yeah.
One hydrogen station can do 400 cars a day.
Oh my
And
gosh.
all of the hydrogen can be made from renewable, not renewable coal, which doesn't exist.
Right. Yeah, that's one thing that people really aren't putting together with the Teslas is that actually you're still on grid because you're running on electricity, and
And they're
electricity
not
is
counting the
powered from the grid.
90%. They're not counting the 90% loss of power over the grid because the wires are just a big resistor. If you're 300 miles from the power plant, you've gone through 4 substations that all have losses before you get that power. If you
Wow.
have your own microgrids done with solar, hydrogen, and fuel cell, basically you have no losses. We're not transporting, fossil fuel from Saudi Arabia, protecting it in the Gulf of Hormuz, and then transporting it around the world and spill a little bit along the way. People don't
Or a lot.
realize that you use 5 gallons of gasoline to get 10 because
Mm.
of all the emissions along the way. It's got to go from the wholesaler to the retailer to the distributor before it gets to you. Mine's delivered free to my doorstep every single day. And I can do seasonal storage, and hydrogen's forever. Most of
Wow.
the fossil fuels we use, most of everything around us is all hydrogen anyway. It's just combined with other elements.
It's the most abundant element in the universe, yes? Hydrogen?
Absolutely. Yep. People don't realize that landfill gas can be turned to hydrogen. We can have sewage treatment plants filling our cars and powering our buildings because we can convert it to hydrogen. Pig ponds, any kind of agricultural waste, all the corn husks and all the stalks and everything can be converted to hydrogen. This is all naturally occurring carbon that would go into the atmosphere anyway. It's just less volatile if it doesn't go in as methane.
Okay,
So
talk
we
to us a
have
little bit
everything we
about
need.
methane. Talk to us a
Pardon me?
little bit about methane. So it's less volatile if you're utilizing
Yeah,
hydrogen
so
than methane?
when you strip off the carbon, you can actually, when you split, so natural gas or methane is CH4. It's 1 carbon and 4 hydrogens. So they apply a steam process that separates the carbon from the hydrogens. Now the carbon can go in to grow plants and things like that, but even
Wow.
if it's released into the atmosphere, it's not mixed with the hydrogen, which makes it more volatile for the atmosphere.
Got you.
And it can
Got
be
you.
sequestered. But it's
Amazing.
naturally occurring. So there are different types of carbon. There's virgin carbon that you get from the ground, millions of years of dead fossils, and there's
Mm.
naturally occurring carbon that's above ground that's part of the existing ecostructure. Okay, and then you've got electrolysis, which has no carbon. So those are the grades of hydrogen that you get to use. Right now, we're using the dirtiest from fossil fuel.
So how do you process your, I mean, I don't want to get so technical that people are just like, what are we talking about? But why also, first, how do you process your hydrogen? Like, how are you making this work out at the hydrogen house?
Very simple process. Basic high school experiment, we do electrolysis. Uh, Basically, the electrolyzer produces hydrogen and oxygen. It separates it in two separate streams. Oxygen goes out into the atmosphere. Hydrogen goes under pressure into my propane tanks. When I need the hydrogen, the energy back again, I run it through a hydrogen fuel cell, combines it from oxygen from the air, turns it back into water again, and provides electricity and heat. The water
Wow.
that we created now goes back into the electrolyzer again to do it all over again. So it's a
Wow.
closed loop where only photons get used.
Wow. And
An
photons is
hour of
the energy
sunlight,
from the sun, yes?
an hour of sunlight is enough to power the planet for 2 years.
Oof. If
So
we
we
can
have all.
harness it. If we can
I
harness
believe in
it.
nuclear, but it's the big nuclear ball in the sky.
That's so cool. Okay, so it's easy. So the fuel cell, that the technology of the fuel cell is very, very important to this whole operation. And the fuel cell has been getting more and more
It's
usable.
getting more and more affordable. So it's just like the first big screen TVs or computers. That technology became much cheaper as it became mass produced and increases in technology and material science. Fuel cells are no different. We're at the beginning of the learning curve. So graphene has changed fuel cells from being hundreds of thousands of dollars that will soon be hundreds of dollars. So you're
Wow.
looking at more cross-sectional area. You're looking at no noble metal catalysts like platinum. These are all happening today. And you have the event of 3D laser printers for manufacturing, and you have vapor deposition of catalyst. So many increases are coming along the line. They're going to be cheaper than any battery in the world.
Oh my
And it's going
gosh.
to be a short period of time, providing the entities out there don't try to kill the cure in lieu of treating the disease.
Yeah, okay. So let's shift to that part of the conversation now. What is keeping us from everybody from having hydrogen fuel stations, hydrogen fueled everything right now? What is keeping us from that?
No one wants to cure the disease. I should say
Mm.
the top 1,000th of 1%ers don't want to cure the disease. They make too much money on the disease. It would be like Amgen wanting to cure cancer.
Mm.
$1 trillion business, diabetes, all these things. This will actually cure the disease. This will take the carbon that we put in the air, 56% from transportation, 40% from buildings, and will make it zero.
Wow.
Yeah, this is a radical change. This will create more jobs than it takes, but all we have to do is have the will to take the key from the floor of our cage, put it in the lock, open the gate, and step out.
It's time. It's really time. I mean,
We have
before
the technology. It's
we have
like
the
the $6
technology.
million man. We have it.
Yeah. And before we went live, we were talking about the fact that, like, wow, all of these fires, the pandemic, like, now is the time for us to wake up and step into action as a culture, as people waking up to what's actually available for us. Like, the time is now for us to get involved.
Yeah, I mean, we're out of time. We're literally out of time. We're running on borrowed time. If we don't start cooling this atmosphere quickly, there's going to be nothing left. I mean, we're going to go into another ice age. We're looking at the points right now where we're past the tipping point. Right now, with all of the glaciers being gone and all of that trillions of tons of methane being released into the atmosphere from the dead sea creatures, it's warming the planet up at an accelerated rate, which is why we're seeing all these crazy things. When the weather patterns change, the Gulf Stream changes, the amount of salt water to fresh water in the ocean changes everything. And we've accelerated it. To say man doesn't make a difference is crazy, especially with the amount of us and what we're doing on the planet. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. That's physics. Except in the case of money, where it doesn't exist. So we have to tell our politicians, go for the science. I think that was the big news story today, was that Trump doesn't follow any of the science or any of his advisors. I don't care about politics. I care what we do to fix the planet now, because we don't have any more time left. The two things, if you want to live longer, you want to be happier, you want to have a planet to spend your money on, you have to invest in this technology now. You have to vote with your checkbook. All right? You've got to put it into companies that are going to give you what you want. These politicians need to be reined in and start to say, look, we want hydrogen infrastructure. We want cars that produce 12 gallons of drinking water every tank full. All right?
So
we
awesome.
want generation systems that are generating pure oxygen, not pure carbon dioxide.
Oof.
Have everything we need.
Yeah.
It's like drowning, in a sea of water. It's all there, and you're dying of thirst in the middle of the ocean.
Okay,
we
so
have everything we need.
What are ways that people can, so if we're watching this and we're like,
we have to educate.
Of course, what do we get to do?
The path is simple.
Yeah.
All right. If people don't know it's on the menu, they're going to be eating crap the rest of their life because there's nothing else on the menu.
Yeah.
We have to let people know there's something else on the menu. And that menu is hydrogen. It's 80% of every molecule in the universe, and it's 80% of what we're made out of. Okay? We're 20% minerals and 80% water. 2/3 of the planet. People ask me this question is, Mike, well, if everybody starts using hydrogen, all the water's going to be gone. The water comes back. What do you think?
It creates more water.
It starts as water and it ends as water. You burn hydrogen, you get water. The science is all there. But we have to take the path of doing it, not talking about doing it. Ideas are dead brain cells unless we act on them. We're at the point, like I said, we have to let everybody know there's something else on the menu. And the early adopters need to start putting this in their houses, in their cars. They need to specify it for their schools. I live in New Jersey. We're the most, we have the largest solar program, but not one state building has solar on it.
So what am I missing here? Totally insane.
What am I missing?
For somebody who has a house and wants to convert it to hydrogen, like your house, which is the very first house that was fully converted. Awesome. What's the cost right now?
We have a 5-year payback system with the current incentives. So you're going to get an investment tax credit from the federal government, which is, right off your taxes. It's a credit. It's not a deduction. You're going to get a 10% fuel cell credit, which will cover a lot of the subsystems. So by the time you're done, it's not much more expensive than a solar system.
Wow.
And once we get volume up, it's going to be cheaper even still.
Wow.
So, anybody can go to the website. You can look at a number of the devices that we've created, jewel boxes and things like that. And I'm doing a lot of hydrogen homes in California now that the grid has failed. People need big power for long periods of time off grid. And once you figure out the first battery replacement, which is 3 to 5 years, you could have bought the fuel cell system. And that's 25 years. This is truly solid state energy. All right. It starts as water, ends as water. Fuel cell has no moving parts in it. You're talking about something with a very long lifetime, very reliable. Remember, this is used by every manned mission since Apollo in the most hazardous environment known to man, which is outer space. Right now in Spaceship Earth, it backs up the 911 system. Okay. They're using it in forklifts, cars, trains, airplanes. All of these things, you can see them all on my website.
Yeah. And so companies, because it is cost effective, like Amazon, like Walmart, like a couple of these, UPS is shifting to use certain technologies that are based on hydrogen.
It's replacing electric battery operated forklifts, because you can use one forklift instead of 3. If you have a battery forklift, you're running 24 hours a day, you need to either change those packs out 3 times a day, and then during the day, the productivity gets lower as the battery depletes. The fuel cell puts out the same amount of power continuously the entire run, and then it's a 3-minute refuel. You're not maintaining a battery room, a hazardous environment room. you're not having workers, a whole team of workers servicing batteries. Remember, these distribution centers have 300 forklifts.
Right.
You know,
Right. That's a lot.
We went from, yeah, you know, so you have 1,000 forklifts, you're down to 300 to do the same productivity.
That's awesome.
And remember,
so
you're not releasing anything in the environment. You're not handling acids. You're not having heavy weights. You know, this is a win-win on the societal benefit scale that is astronomical. Yeah. If you're not throwing all these pollutants into the environment, your body's going to love it. You're going to live longer. You're going to feel better.
And you're actually going to make more money in the long, I mean, not even in the long term, in the shorter long term.
If we don't fix this, there's no place to spend it. We're going to go back to the world of Mad Max.
Yeah.
See the movie again, because that's where we're heading unless we fix this.
Right. And quickly, actually, quickly. Okay. So obviously to learn more, we can go to Hydrogen House, that you have actual technology that people can invest in or utilize for their home, get in touch with you in that way. What else can we do if we're wanting to get involved? Like get in touch with our local leaders, our state politicians? Like what would you recommend?
You have to vote with your checkbooks, number one, because, you know, politicians listen to where the money goes. And, you know, the money is coming from, you know, the utility companies, government, all the people who benefit from oil. If you start investing with your checkbook, then people will invest where people are investing what people want. So you have to invest in where you want your reality to be. In order to do this, it's great. You can lobby them all you want, but it's going to be more important that these companies that are putting their necks out to do the right thing and to cure the disease are well funded to make it happen. I know I can build hydrogen refueling stations because I got one at my house. I can build it at your home. If I can do it with no funding, that's scaring the death out of them, because I don't need to be $1 trillion company to be off grid, to be my own oil refinery and power plant.
So when you're saying invest in companies, so it's like go ahead and invest, actually, like on the stock market, invest into the companies.
Invest in the stock market, or invest in people that are the leaders doing these things.
Okay. Invest with you.
Yeah, I mean, we're doing student projects. We're teaching people how to build microgrids. I do students at Pepperdine in California. I'm doing the PSENG students from Montclair State University. I have 100 in Votech people here from these technical schools. My time is devoted to that. But, you know, go in and sponsor a internship. You know, we're looking for people to sponsor students. I've been doing all of this out of my personal pocket now for the last 30 years. Wow. I've invested half of my company's profits every year into the Hydrogen House project, because that's how strongly I believe that we need a future for our children and grandchildren.
We all get to believe that strongly. We all get to believe that strongly.
This is all about doing the right thing. We no longer have time to do the politically correct thing.
Yeah, yeah,
all
absolutely.
Right? I can make a lot of this stuff happen. I have 30 years of experience in doing this, and it's frustrating for me not being able to move this forward when you know you can help so many people. Yeah. And you can change everything.
Yeah.
Like I said, we've got to get renewable energy everywhere, and we've got to store that renewable energy forever in hydrogen with no waste and no pollution. If you have batteries, you're throwing them into the environment. You're creating scorched earth. It's war over lithium instead of war over oil. We've got to get out of that business.
So let me earlier we spoke about these natural gas stations that we already paid for as taxpayers, citizens of the United States of America. Can we talk about that a little bit? Because I think that's really
I mean,
awesome.
When I worked for the Department of Transportation, you know, I worked with New Jersey Transit, I worked with DOT, I worked with the Department of Treasury, the governor's office, and we put up a whole series of natural gas stations to fill these natural gas buses. Well, the diesels became cleaner than the natural gas buses, and they scrapped the whole program. Wow. So all these stations are left abandoned that could all convert over to hydrogen.
Wow.
You know, and government could put up the money. They could do it through the Department of Transportation. But you have to pressure these officials to do the right thing. Yeah. Electrics are not the right thing.
Yeah.
Who is going to charge a freaking school bus for 24 hours? You're back to the reason why they eliminated all the forklifts. So what are you doing? You're doing yesterday's technology today?
Well, and none of the batteries are recyclable as well.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
It's going to end up in your drinking water. And there's only enough lithium in the world to do 0.5% of the vehicles.
Wow.
So what are we doing here?
Crazy. Yeah.
You're never going to put enough electricity in the ground to power all these cars, because remember, the transformers need to cool at night. And if you're having all these cars charging, now you're going to have to double the infrastructure.
Oof. Okay. So we've heard it.
We're blasting the mountains off. We won't use the energy around us.
Let's be smart.
We're drowning in the middle of the lake here.
Let's join Europe. Let's join Japan. Let's join all of these other countries
China,
that are not.
who has all the lithium, is going to hydrogen.
Wow.
All their school buses are run on hydrogen. Wow. I shouldn't say all, but they're starting to go there. They have a hydrogen city there. They're not going to export any of their technology to us. They need it for them. You know, that's a place where you can see the air, let alone breathe it. Of course, California is getting pretty bad right now, too.
Right. Yeah.
It is the worst air quality in the world today.
All of these. Yeah. Many states. Okay. Awesome. Thank you for being the tremendous stand for transformation that you are on the planet. Thank you for being a just unending source of like, this is what we must do for 30 years. I feel that a groundswell of support and excitement and, getting behind this, which is the only choice, is occurring now. I feel that we are ready for this and we get to continue to put this message out there. So thank you so much for putting it out there for our community. Thank you.
The time is now. Like I said, all of us can do something. And we all need to do something to save Spaceship Earth. This has to be a united front around the world. And it shows no race, creed, or color, or economic, privilege. Everyone needs to work together to do this. We were fighting for our home. Yeah, we're fighting to save Spaceship Earth. If we don't fix this problem, there's no plan B or no planet B.
Yeah.
And time is short.
Beautiful.
Hopefully Mother Earth, send us a call that we're listening to,
Yeah, absolutely.
It's time to do the right thing. No more politically correct stuff.
And thank you. And I'm just going to say before we sign off here, I've been out to your house twice now. Absolutely everything that you're talking about, I've seen firsthand. This is all happening. This little device that you have behind you is this little, fan that's like run by hydrogen fuel cell. Like, this is a real thing, guys. This is, you got to see it to believe it. Sometimes I've definitely seen it. It's real.
Yeah. So these are aircraft legal. I can take a hydrogen fuel cell on an airplane, but you can't take bottled water. So that eliminates the safety thing. We're not the Hindenburg blowing up the planet.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is safe. This is crash tested. Toyota's bet the entire company on this, and they've released 5,500 patents free to the world to do it.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
This is not the future. This is now if we let it.
Yeah, it gets to be now. Okay, so join the Hydrogen House World Project team. I am part of this movement, and many others. And, send emails to Mike Strizki, Dominic, Giafrida. Get involved. This gets to happen now. And thank you guys. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you. Thanks for having us, Alexa.
All right, awesome.